The worst part of small talk is not the silence. It is the story you tell yourself in the silence, that everyone can see you searching for something to say, that you are about to prove in real time that you are awkward, boring, or out of place. I know that feeling. The tight chest when the elevator doors close, the little heat in your face when someone turns toward you at a work event and your mind goes blank. The way you suddenly become aware of your hands, your posture, your smile, like you are watching yourself from across the room. You are not failing at conversation, you are trying to be safe. Most people think confidence in small talk comes from being quick, having a clever opener, being naturally social. What I have learned is that confidence comes from something quieter. It comes from being willing to be ordinary for a moment, being willing to start small and stay present without rushing to prove you are interesting. I used to treat small talk like a test. I would walk into a room and scan for the right person, the right moment, the right line. If I did not find it fast, I would retreat into my phone or hover near the snacks, and the whole time I would be doing math in my head. How long have I been standing here? Do I look weird? Should I move? Should I pretend I got a text? That math is what drains you, not the conversation. Here is what is happening inside most people you meet. They are also doing math. They are also monitoring themselves. They are also worried they will come off as needy, annoying, dumb, or too much. Even the person who looks smooth is often just better at hiding the same fear. So when you step into small talk, you are not walking into a room of judges. You are walking into a room of people who want it to go well. The mistake is that we approach small talk like we are supposed to perform. But small talk is not a performance. It is a doorway. It is how two nervous systems decide whether they are safe together. I want you to imagine a normal moment. You are at work, it is 8:47 in the morning. The coffee machine is making that soft grinding sound. Someone you do not know well is standing there waiting. This is where most people either force a joke or say nothing. And in their head, they call it being bad at small talk. What I do now is simpler. I let myself notice something real, then I let that be enough. The smell of burnt coffee, the fact that the office is quiet, the rain on the windows, the way everyone seems half awake, not as a clever comment, just as a shared reality. The goal is not to impress. The goal is to connect for 2 seconds. Confidence starts when you stop trying to win the moment. You start trying to share the moment. There is also a body language piece here that people miss. When you are anxious, you tend to shrink. Eyes darting, chin tucked, shoulders slightly forward, feet pointed toward the exit. Even if your words are fine, your body is quietly saying, "I want out." And the other person feels that. Not as rejection, more like uncertainty. They do not know what to do with you, so they also retreat. So I practice one small physical decision. I plant my feet. I let my shoulders drop. I keep my hands visible and still. I let my face rest. I do not force a big smile. I just soften my eyes. When I do that, my voice changes. It gets slower. It gets lower. Not fake calm, just less rushed. And people respond to that because it gives them permission to relax too. A lot of small talk confidence is pace. If you talk like you are trying to outrun your own embarrassment, you will feel embarrassed. If you allow a beat of silence after you speak, you send a signal that you are not panicking. Silence is not a mistake. Silence is space. Let me take you to another scene. A friend invites you to a birthday thing. You walk in and there is that moment where everyone seems to already be mid-conversation. Laughter from the kitchen. Music a little too loud. You feel like you missed the opening scene, and now you have to jump in with no context. This is where people either cling to the person they came with or they drift around pretending to look for something. I have done both. What changed for me was realizing that you do not need to enter a conversation with a perfect line. You just need to enter with a real reason. The real reason can be simple. You are here. You are curious. You are looking for a human moment. When I approach a group now, I do not try to take the spotlight. I try to take a corner of the conversation. I listen for a few seconds. I let myself actually hear what they are talking about. Then I add something small that shows I am with them. People think small talk is about talking. It is more about tracking the mood, tracking what matters to the other person, tracking what is safe to say in this space. The confident person is not the loud one. It is the person who makes it easy for others to stay in the conversation. And that is where empathy becomes a practical tool. If I feel awkward, I assume the other person might also feel a little awkward, so I do not make it harder by trying to be impressive. I make it easier by being clear and warm. There is a persuasive framing that helps too. Most people are afraid of being a bother. So they either over-explain or they hold back. I do the opposite. I make my presence light. I do not act like I am asking for a life-changing connection. I act like I am offering a small moment of friendliness. That is easier to accept. Sometimes that looks like acknowledging the obvious, that the room is loud, that it's a long week, that it's a lot of people. When you name what is already true, you reduce tension, you show social awareness, you show you are not pretending. Here is another truth that builds confidence fast. You do not need endless topics. You need depth in simple topics. Weather is not boring if you use it like a bridge. Instead of treating it like filler, I treat it like a doorway into their day. Rain can lead to how their commute was. Heat can lead to what they do on weekends. A crowded place can lead to how they know the host. A new job can lead to what they are learning. The topic is not the point. The person is the point. But I also want to be honest about what makes small talk feel scary. It is not the words. It is the fear of being evaluated. The fear that you will say something and get that flat response, the polite nod, the quick glance away. Your brain interprets that as rejection, even if it is just someone being tired or distracted. So I train myself to stop mind reading. When someone gives a short answer, I do not instantly label it as failure. I consider other possibilities. They might be shy, they might be thinking, they might not have heard me, they might be anxious too. The confident move is to stay steady without forcing it. That steadiness includes boundaries. Confidence is not chasing. If I offer a small connection and it does not land, I do not punish myself. I do not push harder. I simply let it be a neutral moment. I might redirect to something practical, or I might excuse myself with calm. The goal is to leave with my self-respect intact. One of the biggest shifts for me was learning to ask better questions, not more questions. When I was nervous, I would machine gun questions. Where are you from? What do you do? How do you know them? It felt like an interview. People could feel my anxiety behind it. Now I ask questions that have air in them. Questions that let someone choose how much to share. Not because I am doing a technique, but because I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel they can answer like a human, not like a resume. And I pay attention to the moment right after they answer. That is where confidence lives. Most people are already planning the next thing. I try to stay with what they said. I reflect it back in a simple way. Not therapy talk, just showing I heard them. When someone feels heard, small talk stops being small. I remember being at a networking event once, the kind with name tags and bright lights and drinks that taste like melted ice. I was standing near a tall table, pretending to be busy with a plastic cup. A guy nearby kept adjusting his badge. I could tell he was doing the same math I used to do. How do I enter? Where do I stand? Do I look alone? I decided to treat him like a person, not like a project. I made eye contact. I gave a small nod. I let my face relax. I mentioned the obvious thing, that these events always feel a little strange at first. Not as a complaint, more like a shared truth. His shoulders dropped. He exhaled. And suddenly we were just two people in a room. That is the secret most people miss. Confidence is contagious, but so is permission. When you act like it is normal to be a little awkward, you give other people permission to stop performing. Then, connection happens. There is also a skill in ending small talk. A lot of people stay too long because they think leaving is rude. Then the conversation gets thin and awkward and they blame themselves. I learned to leave while it still feels good. I let my tone stay warm. I let my body turn slowly. I do not vanish. I close the moment like it mattered. That builds confidence because you start to trust yourself with transitions. At home, in relationships, small talk matters too. People think intimacy is only deep talks at midnight, but a relationship is built on tiny check-ins, the small question while dishes run, the comment about a show, the quick moment in the hallway. If you cannot do small talk, you start to miss chances to repair and reconnect. Sometimes I will be with my partner or a close friend and I will notice I am distracted. I will feel that urge to give half answers. And I will catch it. I will come back to my body. I will look at them. I will give them a real 2 seconds. Not because I need to be perfect, but because small moments are where trust lives. If you want to build confidence in small talk, you have to practice being present when the stakes are low. Not to become a different person, but to become more available as yourself. And yes, some days you will be tired, some days you will not have it. Confidence includes that too. It includes knowing when you are not in the mood and not turning that into a story about your worth. You can be quiet and still be grounded. You can be brief and still be kind.